What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Newhouse. Thank you so much for being here. Shout out to you and the dozens and dozens of other listeners and viewers that are out there. I've got my hair down. It is late in the afternoon on July 3rd. I'm very excited to celebrate Independence Day and the 4th of July and have a nice 3-day weekend. But before we do that, I wanted to give you a little update on the tax law and the news of the day surrounding that. But before we get there, I kind of want to set the scene a little bit. If you remember during Trump's first term, and I'm always iffy on talking about politics, but public policy is so important as it relates to personal finance and tax law. So I've just got to dive on into it, even though, some people are sick and tired of politics. I got to do it, at least public policy. If you can recall, in December of 2017, Donald Trump signed into law the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And so that lowered the personal individual tax rates by around 2 to 3%, depending on which tax bracket you were at. And it also expanded the tax bracket. So it lowered the rates and expanded the income that you could earn at lower rates, basically. That's what it did. And it went into law from January 1, 2018 until the end of 2025. And with that setting, if you've been around long enough, you've probably heard me hawking one of my books, The Retirement Tax Bomb, How to Protect Your 401k from Impending Tax Increases and Create a Tax-Free Retirement. That is way too long of a title. I get exhausted just saying it. But I wrote this in 2019, and I've talked about it on the channel. And basically what I say in the book is, hey, Trump lowered these tax rates, so we got to take advantage of these low rates while we have them. There's no guarantee we're going to have them beyond 2025, so let's get our Roth conversions in. And I still think that was really good advice. That was the best advice I could give with the knowledge that we had at the time. And so what I would tell clients, what I would tell my, YouTube and podcast listeners is, hey, there's just no guarantee what's going to happen in 2026. Maybe Republicans stumble and they can't pass anything. Maybe Democrats win in 2024 and they don't want to extend the tax cuts. We just don't know what's going to happen. So let's get the Roth conversions in while we can, while we know we have these, really good, really low historical rates. Well, that leads me to this morning when the House passed the Senate's version. So basically, let me backtrack a little bit. The House passed their own version of this tax bill, which has a lot of other things not related to taxes, but we're just going to talk about the tax part of it. The House passed it, then the Senate passed their own version, then it came back to the House, and the House had to pass the Senate's version, and they did that this morning. And so tomorrow morning, President Trump is going to sign that into law. And what that tax law says is that the individual rates that went down from 2018 to 2025, they are permanently extended. So there's no sunsetting provision on these new tax rates that we're going to have. So it's just a permanent feature of tax law for now. And so I've got 4 different thoughts on what it means to you, retired folks, people over 50. So even if you're not retired, but you're thinking about retiring, in the next few years, this is going to be pertinent to you. And honestly, I think it's good news to you. Whether you like the whole bill or not, totally up to you. And I am not going to debate you on that. But it's good news if you want your individual tax rates to stay lower so you can, have more opportunity to do Roth conversions. That's good news on that front. So my first thought that I have here is that you do not need to worry, and this is pretty obvious, but you don't need to worry about maxing out your contributions by the end of 2025 anymore. Excuse me. You do not need to worry about maxing out your conversions, different than contribution, by the end of 2025. And so that was my advice in the book. Hey, let's see if we can do as much as we can before 2025 because we don't know what's going to happen in 2026. But we do know what's going to happen in 2026 now. And so we're going to have the same tax rate. So we just don't need to bunch all of your conversions into 1 year by the end of 2025. My second point is that if you have delayed doing Roth conversions, if you haven't retired yet, but you're thinking of it in the next few years, or you just been a little lazy and haven't gotten around to it, this is very good news for you. This presents an opportunity for you to start doing those Roth conversions at this lower tax rate. Also, if you're just like 1 or 2 years away from retirement, this is also really, really good news for you because, again, you don't need to start it right now. You're going to have these tax rates, 1 to 2 to 3 years from now. My third thought that I have here is that I think the best conversion window that we're going to have is 2025, this year till the end of 2029. And let me explain why. I know I just said that the tax law is permanent, but that is that only means that it's not going to sunset. When we get different politicians in there, politicians who might want to raise taxes, they absolutely will have the right and the ability to raise those individual tax rates if they think it's necessary. So, this current Congress and president voted in the tax law as this way, but a future president and a future Congress can absolutely change that. Basically, every president since Ronald Reagan, with the exception of Joe Biden, unless I'm missing something big, has made a really big impact on tax policy, and so they kind of shape tax policy to reflect their own views and values and mission. And so we should expect that to happen the next time someone else comes into office who, might not like the rates at the current level. They might want to increase them. So you should just expect at some point that that's going to change. I don't know when, but if we've got 2025, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's a full 5 years. And I'm assuming, new president comes in 2029. Let's say they want to raise taxes. They can't get it into effect January 1 of 2029 because they only get in January 20th of 2029. So the earliest they could get started on increasing taxes is January 1, 2030. So I think you've got a really nice 5-year window to do Roth conversions through that period. I'm not positive we're going to be able to do it after that just because I don't know the politicians. So I know I just said, hey, they're permanent now, but there's nothing in life is permanent. Nothing in tax policy is permanent. And then the last point that I have for you is, that's my last point. So I hope this is helpful. If you're planning on doing Roth conversions in the next few years, I think this is good news for you. Even if you hate the rest of the bill, I think it presents a pretty good opportunity to at least think about doing Roth conversions over these next 5 years at these really nice, historically low tax rates that we have now. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. Happy Independence Day, and I will see you next week. Bye.